Hi Flosstube! Welcome to my channel, Journals and Stitches. My name is Christina. I live here in Sweden. I do have my dog here, so we'll see if he needs to rush by, but hopefully he'll just stay there and chill out. If you like what you see, please leave a comment down below, subscribe, and all the YouTube things. Give me a thumbs up so the algorithm will show me to other people and do all the Flosstube things. I'm a little late. I have been to Japan. Got back on the 2nd of July. I've had to get my sleep rhythm back and all that, so I do apologize, but I don't have a lot to show you. Mainly for 2 weeks. Well, I'll explain later. So, stats for June. I worked on 8 projects, including my temperature stitching, and 2 whips. One I brought with me to Japan, and didn't get a lot. 10. And I got a whole 4,072 stitches done this whole month of June. But I was on vacation for 2 weeks. So for temperature stitching, we'll start with 0. It was called Once, and the project assigned to 0 is February by the Cricut collection, and this is what it will look like when finished. It was called Once in the first 2 weeks. I had planned on keeping up with temperature stitching while away, tracking the temperatures, but I fell off that bandwagon pretty quickly, so it'll just be for 2 weeks. Anyway, 0 was called Once. It got 116 stitches, so what I added was a part of the R that's like a glove. So this white here mainly, and I think I added a little bit more on the R itself. Yeah, this is what I have. It is done on a 40 count even weave, 1/2, and the even weave is by Coffee Craft Fabrics in the UK. Next we have number 2. It was also called Once, and the project assigned to that is from Tilt and Craft, called Fae Cottage from the Emerald series. The artwork is from the Wild Daisy 1, 2, 3. It is done on 25 count even weave, hand dyed by myself, and I am doing this 2/1/10 stitch. And since when it was called, I decided I would figure out where I went wrong, and it was pretty much at the beginning, so I had to rip out quite a lot, but in the end I'm happy I did it, and I'm now in the right spot and I can count easily. So all of this had to be ripped out. I've added a little bit more in the top, and here's the roof. And I started moving over this way a bit. And I added 136 stitches to that. Then we have number 4, which it used to be the fairy books from Tills and Crafts. However, I started working on it and figured it wasn't going to fit on the fabric. I measured and remeasured, and nope, it wasn't going to fit. So I scrapped that idea and I brought in a whip, actually, instead of starting something new or finding other fabric and restarting the fairy books. So I brought in this pattern. This is Dark Queen of the Earth from Autumn Lanes to Tree. It was a Sal 2023, maybe 24 or 22. Not sure, but it was a Sal a few years ago, and I didn't keep up with it. I'm working on this side here by her dress, and this is done on I think 16 count Ada hand dyed from Chromatic Alchemy. They are no longer dyeing, so you cannot get this fabric from them, unfortunately. But yeah. And I had not much of this part here, a little bit. I added 229 stitches. It was called Twice. So yeah, it's been brought out of hibernation and I'm finally working on it again. It had been wallowing away for a year, maybe, or longer. Then we have number 5, which was also called Twice. And that is Dragon and Roses. The designer is Ina Baidenko. And I added 136 stitches to this. My math seems off. 236, I think. One, two, 6, 1, 10. Yes, so it should be 236 stitches. This is why we write it down, people. You can check. And I have started adding backstitch, so you can start it to really tell it is a dragon. I'm filling in like the bridge of the nose and trying to fill in all the different colors so I can backstitch. So because there's a lot of backstitch. There's a lot. And this fabric is also from Coffee Craft Fabrics. It is a 32 count opalescent even weave from her. And then we have number 6. It was called 3 times in June, and this pattern is called Moonlit Pond from Stitching Itchings on Etsy. This is what it'll look like. I added 357 stitches, and I'm trying also with this one, it doesn't have a lot of backstitch, but I'm trying to fill in gaps in the lake or the pond. So I've been working here, adding a bit of the lighter colors, filling in this part here. It is coming along. And the last one was number 7. It was called 5 times in 2 weeks. And I have reached the bottom of the first column. So I now know exactly how tall it'll be, and I have given myself a lot of margin, which is great. And the pattern I'm talking about is Beachcomber from Carolyn Manning Designs. And I have started in this side 1 square, and I did the whole column down. And so now this way. These are the top. So this is the entirety of how tall it'll be. And I think I have each square marked out, so this is how wide it'll be. So now I'll start filling in and going a bit all over the place instead of doing square by square. It got pretty tedious after a while. But to get to the bottom, I have done 891 stitches. Probably a bit more since some of the stitches may not be marked off entirely because they've been parked, but circa 891 stitches. And it's been called for yesterday, so I haven't put those stitches in yet. So that'll get worked on pretty soon. And that's all the temperature stitching I have done for June. So let's move on to whips. I have worked on 2 whips. The first one I'll show you is the one I took with me to Japan. And it is this one. So much glitter. Okay. This is a custom cross stitch kit that I had ordered from Dream Stitch. And I'm working pretty much in the stark blue area here. And this is what it looked like last time. And so now this is what it looks like now. So I've done 10 by 60 complete in 2 rows, and I have just this one row here, and I'll finally reach the seashell. And this is a stamped kit, obviously. But I do have the pattern in Saga, so that's how I can know how many stitches I've done. It is a 16 count done with 2 strands over 1 full cross, and this was started on the 23rd of May. The next whip is Epic Generation 1 Pokemon Expanded Edition Max Color. This is what it looked like last time. And this is kind of what it'll look like finished, if I can find it. It is from Lord Libidin, so it's a free pattern. You can go onto the webpage and you can find all the generations, and there is also one for all 9 generations available for free. On the Pokemon Stitchers group on Facebook, someone had redone it to be a max color version, and I don't know their name, but the file is available on that group to download and stitch the version I'm doing, except it's not the extended one, so I have to manually do the extra rows all around, so no Pokemon gets pretty much their heads cut off, or most of them are gone. But it's slow going, but it works. So I have finally decided to start putting in a bit of the background. I'm working on some of the I've done quite a bit on Lapras, I know. And here we have Articuno coming in. You can really start to see Eevee coming through. Here we have Lapras. Did I start a different Pokemon? I think there's a different Pokemon starting to come through down here. Oh yeah, it's the green praying mantis one. Sizor or something? Anyway, that's the one that's coming in down there. And I don't know if you can tell, but if it'll focus, come on. No, okay. So the background, this part is old, so it's a bit dirty, which is why there's a difference. But anyway, this was done the same as everything else, which is 1/1 full cross, and that takes forever. So instead, I'm doing the background 2/1 10th stitch, the same direction that I finished my X's, which is bottom right to top left. It's like this. So that's how I finish. That's the top leg of my X. And that's how I'm doing the 10 stitch, which goes a lot faster, so I can start filling in the background. So I've done it here by Dratini and Dragonair. Did I do anything else? Oh yeah, by Lapras here in the mouth. And here, I think also. Wait. Those were all the projects I worked on. So let's talk about plans. I have decided to quit all my games. I'm not doing any of them. I'm not doing Whip Go. I'm not doing any of the games from Fun with Cross Stitch. Just not doing any of them. Instead, I want to continue with temperature stitching and one or maybe two focus stitches in a month to get more progress on each project. And we'll see how that works out. Maybe I'll get bored. Maybe you'll get bored. But we'll see. I think having too many projects is stressful. So I feel like I'm not getting enough done. But when I focus on projects, I do see more progress done. So for now, I'm going to just focus on one project a month. And so I've decided, so for July, for example, the focus projects for this month will be Beautiful Easter, which is a test stitch, and this is what it'll look like when it's finished. I am really close to having that one done. I have all the line work done, so now it's just a matter of filling in like the bunnies, the eggs on the corners, and then like the flowery bits. So it's not a lot left to do. So I want to, and since it's a test stitch, I want to get that done as soon as possible. It's also a very small stitch. So I want to focus on that, and I really need After the Rain finished, so I can take it with me to the Essex Needles Retreat in September. This is what it'll look like when finished. I have reached the bottom, and so now I'm just working my way over and getting all the full crosses done, and then I'll be able to add all the backstitching, which is pretty much beach grass, to make it feel beachy. But yeah, so those are the projects I want to focus on in July, and we'll see what I'll do for August. So if I like this way of stitching, I will admit I was quite inspired by Lone from the Random Stitcher. She has also gone to be more focused with her stitching, and that really seems like a good idea for me too. So maybe we can vote for August, or maybe I'll spin a wheel and give you two items to vote on if that's something we think might be a good idea. Otherwise, I'll just spin a wheel, and that'll be what I focus on for August if I get After the Rain done and my test stitching. But we'll see. Comment down below what you think would be a good idea, would be more fun, more random, or so. So give me ideas if you have anything else that might work. Drop it down in the comments below. I heart everything I read and reply if there's a question or something. So yeah. So next I'll do a blind reaction. I have bought two kits from Dream Stitch. I know what one is. The other one, I don't know what it is. So let me get that. And my husband just came home, so now my dog has to go inspect. But I'll go grab that package and we'll do a blind reaction. I'll shut off this sound for the reaction because I haven't opened anything, so to avoid all the crinkling. So I'll turn off the sound maybe and do a voiceover or just some music, and then I'll come back. journaling. So for June, I have shown you. Okay, so this was the page I had for all my games, my temperature stitching, whip go, and my test stitching. And I just, no. And I didn't complete filling in temperature stitching, how many times each thing had been called. Whip go is just, no. And test stitching, well, yeah, I mean, Beautiful Easter, when I started it, when I was finished, I'm not finished yet. The next test stitch that I'm going to do from the same designer is called Wolf with Glasses. I still haven't decided which fabric to do that on. I have 2 fabrics I'm deciding on. Maybe next video I'll show you the fabrics and you can vote. I don't know. I'll get back to you. But I didn't keep up with it. And then these are the 2 weeks I did do in June when I was still here before I went on vacation. And then I went on vacation, and the pages are more like a junk journal, with the places I've been to, some stickers, whatnot. So this was kind of like what I needed to pack, things I needed to get when I arrived, like a sun umbrella, eSIM welcome Suica card, and some things I wanted to pick up while I was there in Japan. And yeah, so this is the start of where I was starting what I did, places I visited. So these 2 are from 2 different temples. This is a sticker we got from one of the konbinis. We visited the Imperial Palace Gardens, which was free to enter. And at one of the shops, they had an eki stamp and maps, so you could stamp the map as a memorabilia. I found the sticker for Japan, so of course I got that and added it. And then so this is, I visited this shop while in Japan. It was established in 1663, so it's a really, really old shop. And I got a brush and some other things from there. We went to see a baseball game, and it was the Tokyo Swallows were playing the Buffaloes from somewhere. But that was fun. I think this is from, this isn't a picture I took, but this is from the gardens in the Nijo Castle outside where you can see. This is from Mount Inari, a temple I visited. We went to the Team Lab Borderless exhibition in Tokyo. I visited the Hankyu department store. Here are some stickers I got. And this is from a map for a temple island where they warn you about the deer. They are really cute for 10 seconds, and then they're super freaking annoying because they don't leave you alone if you happen to have food or they think you have food. So that was really annoying. And then these are like all the tickets from where we went with the Shinkansen, different trains. I went on a Ferris wheel, my plane tickets home, and this is part of a diploma we got that said that we had flown over the North Pole, so that was fun. We didn't do that on our way to Japan. from Japan we did, so that was cool. We went to Universal Studios Japan. That was a lot of fun. But warm. It was hot. Yeah. So that was June. And then for July, I got some new washi tape and stickers. So I decided to go with like a more red. This is inspired from a kimono fabric. So I found a poem called Geisha by Philo Ian. And it goes like this. An exquisite geisha from Japan, Asia. Ladies in training, singing, dancing, entertaining. Features are so delicate, hair long, black as night. Show your might, accumulate, experience, texture, color, light. And this is a new stamp, self-ink. So the first one wasn't great, but it's supposed to be a paintable stamp, so I can use it all year, which is great. And this is my month so far. And I have, this is my new stitchy page. So here are all the different temperature stitches that I have going. So far, I have two. I haven't recorded for today, which was 9 because the high was 19. These are my test stitching. So this one is the one I'm focusing on, Beautiful Easter. And besides this one, this is my other focus, After the Rain. And my first week is this one. So this is for this week, week 27, the 30th of June to the 6th of July. I was in Japan these 2 days. And Wednesday, Thursday, starting to fill up for today. And I didn't write down the temperature for Tuesday. So it'll be 1 day of July where I don't have temperature stitching. But Wednesday was a high of 23, so I did 124 stitches on that one. Then I have Thursday and today to catch up on, and then I can start focusing on my focus whips for this month. So I do have a lot of haul, but I'm not going to show that because this is already quite a long video and I don't need it to be hours and hours. So the only haul I'll show you is what I've already shown, which has been in use, like this tape, this stamp, and this is also a stamp by a Japanese. This is from a Japanese artist. She made me a personal stamp as well, which I ordered, which I got from her. She wrote my name on it. Also the pen I'm using and the ink is also new. So I got a Pilot pen. It's a fountain pen. Nothing fancy. And the ink was also purchased there. It's like a dark gray, this one that I'm using right now. So it looks black pretty much. But it's been nice. The paper was really nice. I did find a replacement journal when this one is all used up, or I get to a new year, depending on which comes first. I do have a lot of space left, and it should be enough to get me through the full year from what I've written out. So, thank you so much for watching. Like I said, please leave me a comment down below. Give me a like, follow, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. The next Flosstube will be out on the 1st of August. So I'll be back to my usual schedule of getting things out on the 1st. And I hope you have a continued wonderful summer. Bye.